Hello. Today we're doing a rant style because I do not feel like editing. So today we're talking about violence and why it doesn't work for literally anything, except for the problem of self-defense. But it doesn't work in terms of spreading truth and creating happiness and prosperity. And let me explain a little bit as to why. Let's say, for example, you have a point of view or a belief that is good in your eyes, and it very well might be. Say you believe in peace, tolerance, or that homeless people should be fed, all good things. And you believe in things that are good. But sometimes you may see in this world people use violence to try to spread their beliefs. I don't need to give you any examples. I'm sure you're aware of plenty. But what happens? And does that actually work? Does the violence used that we've seen in recent times, can it actually produce a peaceful and better world for us? Or are we merely perpetuating the issues that we're living in? And so, let's say, for example, you have a point of view, right? And you try to tell it to somebody. Now, I'm sure you've had people online try to tell you this, try to tell you that, try to tell you how to think or what to believe or tell you that you're wrong. And let me ask you a question. How do you feel when someone berates you and tells you that you're stupid or that you're an idiot? Whether it's online to your face. What do? Well, you close up, right? It's like, frick you, man, go away. Like, I'm not listening to you. Like, you shut them off from your heart. You don't let them in. And you don't want to be close to that person. You don't want to be close to that kind of negativity. It's your instinct to push that person away. Regardless of what it is they actually stand for or what they believe. They might believe in something that might very well be good and could actually do you some benefit. But because they present it to you in such a way that was condescending, demeaning, and they treated you and they did not value you, they did not value your feelings, they did not value your emotions. In fact, they attacked you and made you feel really, really bad. They either slandered you or they just treated you with anger and hostility. Your emotional response is to back up, push them away. Don't let them get close to you because you don't want that, right? And well, violence invokes the same feeling. Why? Self-preservation. You don't want to get hurt. Bodily damage is something that we are instinctually designed to try to avoid. Same reason you don't jump off a roof. Why? You don't want a broken leg. You stay away from that person who's being hostile and aggressive because you don't want to get punched in the face. And unfortunately, when you do experience an act of violence or when people see violence, it leaves an impact. It leaves a traumatic impact on you, especially if you're the victim of it. And as a result, you want to stay away from that. And unfortunately, we as humans, we will often associate the groups of people and different ideologies of the attackers with violence. So, for example, if someone has a particular point of view and they say, hey, I want this, or I think this is good, but they use a means of violence to try to force you to believe in it, well, guess what? You will most likely associate their beliefs with the violence, especially if it's a belief that you don't currently hold. And what we see a lot of times, people will use, especially internally, they may not say it, but they'll use the violence of Group Y or Group X as an excuse to not consider their opinion or their objective, even if the violent part of the group is not the majority at all. Even if only 1% of a group of people from an ideology commit the acts of violence, especially with media today, they always show you the worst things because that's what gets the most clicks. You're going to associate that idea or that belief with the violence, and you're going to want to distance yourself from it because you don't want to be a part of that. And so, really, unfortunately, even if the ideology or the idea or the belief is good, people will distance themselves from it just by association with violence. For example, we'll come back to this in a second, but this will create, and also this just creates more issues for future generations. Like, for example, how many groups of people do you know that are currently suffering today because of violence that was perpetuated in the past? I know you can name at least one, but there's many. I don't need to say them. You know who they are. You know what we're talking about. The year is 2021. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Different groups of people either refusing to work together with one another, hating each other because there's a history of violence between them, and they're just holding grudges. And so violence creates separation, it creates that distance, and we will perpetuate the division for the next generation. Because we're seeing it today. Even now, there are groups of people who are still isolating themselves or suffering or dealing with pain or social anxiety because of violence that happened in the past. And so at the end of the day, it just doesn't seem productive to me. It doesn't seem like it works. And yeah, there's a story in the Bible where the guards come to get Jesus, and Peter takes a sword and cuts one of their ears off. Now, if Jesus was like, yeah, defend me, he would have been just another religious rebel with his gang of thugs trying to force his way into social dominance. But that's not what he did. He picked up the ear and healed the man and put it back on. The moral of the story is that if you try to use violence or hostility or aggression or abuse or harassment, you literally cut people's ears off to what you have to say. They will not hear you, even if you are the most woke, the most politically correct, the most good, the most righteous. You have the perfect view or the perfect belief that could change the world for the better. People will not hear you if you are harsh, aggressive, hostile, demeaning, and especially violent. They will not hear you if you are violent. And so you're just cutting the ears off of people. How do you get to people is with kindness. People open up to their hearts to people who value their humanity, who show that they have value. We all have a distinctive sense of self-worth. And when other people validate you and show that, hey, you are valuable, let me treat you with some respect and kindness, you want that person in your life. You want them closer. And I cannot tell you how many times that, as a salesman or just talking about different things, kindness has gone a long way for me. By valuing this person and showing them that I care about them and being kind to them, they actually let me in and open up, and we can actually have real conversations as opposed to just being hostile and then walking away having learned nothing. And so if you want to learn more about kindness and how it helps us out, check out this video right here. I hope this video helped you out, and I look forward to seeing you around. Please like and subscribe. It's going to be an awful lot of fun. Good day.